Well, with the inflation numbers up, it's going to be interesting what's going to happen in the next while. I mean, it just can't get any worse for consumers. But this is the aspect of the long wave, right? We're going to enter into economic winter. There's nothing we can do to stop it. We can try to save, as many people as possible to deleverage before the economy forces you to. So, in simplicity, what we have is and the key is that we have three cycles turning down, right? The long wave, the Kuznets or the real estate cycle, and the business cycle into 2024. A lot of people have expected that the recession was going to hit this year, but the economy is slowing, but we're not there yet. And that's a key point. Now, if here's the latest numbers, and what I do with this chart, it just gives me a secular view, right? This is the long wave, right? This is not about short term or a thesis or an idea of how the economy works, right? The long wave is a social cycle, and it's reflective of what has happened in the past. I mean, what's going to happen is not pleasant, but it's happened in the past. It's no different. For some reason, society forgot the lessons of the past, and we're going to repeat the lessons of the past. That is it. Here's the latest. As you can see, the August numbers were 4%. You notice this is the fourth inflation wave that started in 1896, and we still have a secular slowing from the peak in the early 1900s. Obviously, a lot of people are not going to be in a disagreement, but we're going to be looking at deflation in 2024. It doesn't look like that way, but we're headed into a recession. And let me explain why. This just came out today. This is Canada total household credit during the fiat monetary era. Now, for long waivers and new students, notice that we have a secular slowing. In spite or despite falling interest rates since 1981, we have household credit growth with lower highs. And economic winter will be here, the latest 2030s. I've said, according to the models, it's 2024. It's simply all the demographic tailwinds will be behind us in terms of new homes. We have an exponential rise in deaths. Immigration is affected another issue. It doesn't solve it because immigrants don't have the income or the capital to purchase a home. It just actually makes the problem worse. And by the way, it makes the demographic problem worse because we just accelerate aging, right? Most immigrants are in their 30s, starting their productive years. We need another baby boom. So this immigration doesn't solve the issue. Now, what's interesting, look at this number again for July, 3.3%. And we haven't seen these numbers since the collapse in 87, after 2007, and recently 2001. The lowest we can see is 1982, and that occurred because of a severe recession with interest rates skyrocketing. Now we're at the opposite end of this. We have interest rates just barely in the 5 year hitting 4%, and that's disrupting the market. That was 18% mortgage rates. Imagine what that would do for the economy today. Now, this is important. Also, what happened today, we hit a new high in the 5 year where most of the mortgages. Now, this is maybe for some people, it's a very dense chart. So let me simplify it. It just shows the secular trend of falling interest rates since 1981. And we can see it bottom in 2020. And we have a rising secular trend, broke the downtrend. So what is it for interest rates? And that's going to change the dynamic of investing. Real estate days are behind us because we don't have cheap credit. 4.2%. And if we take a look at where I think a collapse will occur, is anything north of 4.75%. That was at the peak of the other real estate cycle. And interest rates were falling to help the real estate bubble. Society leveraged from the zero bound. That is it. Falling interest rates falling to zero doesn't help, as it didn't help in the 90s, didn't help in the 1930s, and didn't have help in Japan. I still believe that we're going to have the ultimate peak next year, and this is when the last of the millennials can purchase a home. So those numbers, as you saw before, again, look at this number here. This number was for July. This is in September. We could only imagine the August and September numbers are going to be worse. More people will be resetting. More people will be technically defaulting. And the key is again, what can we do? Society's made the mistake. Doesn't mean you have to participate. Start deleveraging. If you're thinking of selling your home, you want to do this before that completely dries up next year when the economy rolls over. Because when the economy rolls over, the demand for credit falls, unemployment will skyrocket. And I suspect we're going to get negative credit growth for the first time since a brief dip in 1982. The last time it happened was during the Great Depression. Economic winter is knocking on our door.